lounging, son.
Welcome back to the Comic Lounge. My name's Ryan, and today I'm going to be going through this Batman Harley and Ivy collection. The main story is by Paul Dini Bruce Timm and Shane Glines, but there's also some other great stories over the course of, Harley's creation and her integration into DC Comics. So you got some animated stuff, got a black and white story, some really cool stuff in here though. So before I get into it, just want to remind everybody, if you're not already, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you're notified every time I drop a new vid. There is all sorts of great content on the channel. Between diving into comics this way, there's interviews both with big names, indie creators, and some creator commentary. A lot of good stuff on the channel, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. Now let's dive straight into this. So I am a child of the 90s. I would say child of the 90s. I was born in 87, but the Batman animated series has always had a special place in my heart. I recently went through the Batman animated series holiday special that came out in 94, 95. A lot of great stories. Actually, one of those stories is also in this book, but they just recently, I think, re-released this collection. I'm not sure. I mean, this is the first time I'm seeing it. So this is the first time it's been collected. So, you're going to have some other stories in here, like I said, but it's got the Batman, Harley, and Ivy miniseries. Again, I love this show so much. The introduction of Harley Quinn into that animated series and how she's blown up since then has just been insane. But these stories are all going to focus on the relationship of Harley and Ivy. So, you have the Batman, Harley, and Ivy miniseries. You got Batman Adventures Annual 1, you got Batman Adventures Holiday Special Story, the Batman and Robin Adventures 8, Batgirl Adventures number 1, Batman Gotham Knights 14, and Batman Black and White number 3. A story from there as well. So, the main story is the one that I have never read before. The other ones with the exception of maybe one or two, I've read all those stories. So, I'll briefly touch on those, but I do want to touch on this main one, because you don't get to see Bruce Timm doing a lot of interior work. Obviously, him and Paul Dini are two of the big names of creators that have worked on that show. And then you got Dan Reba, you got Alan Burnett, and a slew of other, Glenn Murakami. Bunch of great creators put that show together, but I think the ones most associated, at least to the larger public, would be Paul Dini and Bruce Timm. So, you get to see them with all their hijinks. Harley's always, kind of getting in trouble. Ivy's always wanting to... She's more the serious one in the, quote-unquote relationship, but she's coming to steal this special plant, and Harley told him, don't worry, there's nobody there, we're going to get in and out. Of course, there's a party going on with the rich, and she's like, I love this, because he really gets across, the cartoon aspect of this iteration of the Batman universe, and I just think it's amazing. I think Bruce Timm is one of the greatest artists, both in animation and comic books. I love anytime I get to see him. So I don't know how this original miniseries passed me by, but really glad to be able to have it in a collection and get all these other bonus stories as well. But as they're about to make their escape, of course, who else would be there at a party for the rich but Bruce Wayne? So he's going to go after them. He cuts the ivy that Poison Ivy is using to kind of propel down. And all the while, all she cares about is, Harley, don't drop that plant. And she's going through this bag. And what is Harley going to do? She takes the plant and throws it at Batman, knocking him out enough so that they can make their escape. Instead of making their escape, Ivy's more pissed off about the plant, and that's how Batman is able to capture them and take them back to Arkham Asylum. And now she's kind of just done with Harley. She doesn't want to deal with her. I love this kind of stuff. Again, just really leaning into the cartoon aspect of the animated series and stuff you can't see. You won't see in the main continuity. You may see thought balloons of people talking, but not these, where she's cutting Harley's head off. And Harley just, is not getting the point. She just keeps going at Ivy and trying to stay on her good side. This, I feel, wouldn't have flown in the animated series, so kind of interesting that they chose to do that in the animated style and having them taking a shower together. But really funny scene. Harley whips her with the towel. She finally just loses her shit. I'm finished with you. I don't want to see you again. And Harley just not getting the clue. Still trying to make up with Ivy And that's what she spends most of this, I almost called it episode, but this issue doing. She's able to make her escape, and she uses her powers, as she always does, to control men with her kiss. Harley kind of piggybacks off that and convinces that guard to let her out as well. And now they go on an adventure to recover the plant again from where it's located, which is in a different country, in Costa Verde. And they take a ship there. I love this, how Ivy just throws her off the boat with the life preserver and just drags her by. So this is, again, this whole series of stories is them trying to get it back. They get captured in another country, and Harley and Ivy are now going to manipulate the president of Costa Verde into getting their plant. And, throughout, they come across a couple guys called Slash and Burn. Super corny. But they're trying to stop Harley and Ivy from taking the plant. And as Ivy gets the plant, she's becoming one with nature. And, the rain is coming, and she comes back to Harley as Harley's all sad and just wants to go home. And she's like, okay, well, I got the route. Let's go back to Gotham. And Slash and Burn have other ideas for them, and they come and they attack Harley and Ivy, and we just get a great fight scene between them. And I love the fact that Batman doesn't play a major factor in this, and this really is just the two of them on their own adventure, and they are able to manipulate the president into preserving the rainforest, so it's not going to be bastardized by that country. And now they have come back, and this is going to be them going to Hollywood, as there's a movie being made about Batman and the Joker and Harley and all of them, and they don't like who's being cast as them. They're going to go stop it. Kind of reminded me of, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, when Jay and Silent Bob see that there's a movie being made about them. They don't like it, so they're going to go to Hollywood and change that. Just some funny scenes about, like the Hollywood writing room and what they're trying to do with action figures, and how they need to be able to make these scenes because it ties in with the action figure line. And they pretend they're stunt girls and extras, and then they take over the entire filming of the movie. And then they keep going through all these different Batman actors because they keep putting him in scenes where he's getting blown up or, all sorts of stuff. Batman takes notice that they have to have heard about this film, so he knows they're not going to be happy, so he's going to find out what's going on. And just, really fun story with Harley and Ivy. I like that the first, the first two issues kind of led together and to form one story, but then we get a nice little kind of one-shot story. I would love to see this universe, the Batman animated series universe, visited more, especially by Paul Dini and Bruce Timm. I know they got the Batman Adventures Continued, which kind of takes place in that continuity, but I always love seeing these two. I think their dynamic in the animated series was some of my favorites. Then we get, one of the older stories of, Harley's walking out, she's all cured, but then she sees Joker and goes right back into it and falls right back into the trap. And I love that all of this is wordless for the most part. It's letting the art tell the story and showing that, she can't trust Joker because he just throws Harley right in front so he can make his escape. Then she ends up right back where she was. And then she ends up right back where she was. So not learning her lesson, And then we got the Harley and Ivy Christmas story, which I had just recently talked about on the holiday special, so I won't get too into this. But, they take Bruce Wayne over and kind of go on their own shopping spree. And all the while, Bruce knows that he's being controlled by them, but can't do anything about it because of Ivy. So just a fun little holiday story. Something that I even believe that this was like a episode. I mean, I said it in the other video too, but I'm pretty sure this was an episode with Harley and Ivy and Batman. But then we get this cool story where Robin is now being manipulated by Ivy, and they use him to plot out their crimes because, he's works for Batman, so he knows how to kind of beat him at his own game, if you will. So this was another fun one. I love that we get to see, Robin's facing off against Batman. He doesn't know that he's being controlled, and then at the end of it all, as he realizes he's being manipulated, giving massages to Ivy. And why would he leave his mask on? Why wouldn't they want to look at his alter ego? But that's the best thing about it, is they wouldn't, because it's a cartoon and they got to keep the story going. It would take too much away from the main narrative of him being controlled if they finally figured out who he was, and then they could figure out Batman. So I love this. Harley's getting pissed because Ivy's leaning more towards Robin and not kind of ignoring her and not listening to her plan. So she's going to try to cure him just because she doesn't want Ivy with Robin anymore. And then as he's coming out of it, she goes to attack him because she's tired of being forgotten. And Batman comes in to play. Ivy has now controlled Robin again. So really fun story here. But then we notice that, because of the antidote being so strong and so much of it being consumed, he's not really being controlled. And I love that, when he thinks of all the times he's been hit on the head by the Joker or whacked in the face, teeth by Two-Face, I guess this wasn't so bad. So kind of a funny little one. Another Christmas story, actually, with Batgirl being the main focus on this one. And Harley's messing with the bat signal and hoping she'll get Batman, but Batgirl is the one that comes into the mix. And really, this whole story is mostly about her trying to save Ivy because she's been kidnapped. So she tricks Batgirl into helping her. I love this, them chasing each other on the tops of cars. Again, just love this animated style. It's one of my favorite depictions of Batman. I think it's in the top 3 depictions of Batman across all media. Is the Batman animated series. So I just really dig looking at these stories. I love how, Batgirl is now going to help Ivy as long as she turns herself in at the end of it. And I'm not sure who this character is that has captured Ivy, but Ivy's not going to go take it lying down. Get this scene right here. She's like, oh, Ivy can't hurt me. She gave me a special shot once so we can play and I won't get sick at all. And then this is kind of leaning into the fact that, Poison Ivy and Harley are in a relationship, but was never kind of consummated in the comics. She's like, what? You and Ivy are, friends? Yeah, friends but then there's what everybody says about you at Supergirl. And she's like, what? No, forget it. Never mind. So I love that little scene. I thought that was pretty funny. At the end of it all, Batgirl and Harley are going to save Ivy. Batgirl tries to do it on her own, but then gets taken down, and luckily Harley knows how to get out because she's got these Joker clippers that are just randomly in her outfit. So she's able to break loose, save Batgirl, and save Poison Ivy, and they make their escape. And all the while she's singing the Batman Smells, or Jingle Bells Batman Smells song, but she changes it and puts Batgirl in the mix. And this character, is able to mimic other people, so she's able to be Harley, but then she's able to differentiate who the real Harley is because she calls her Brat Girl, and that's how she takes her down. And as she takes Harley to jail, they let her go because the cops can't just throw her in there for Batgirl's word. If nobody's actually filed a complaint, Ivy and Harley get to go on their, no pun intended, merry little way. And then we get another Harley Ivy story where they're, going back and forth on whether or not Ivy can get a kiss from everyone in the asylum. And she starts doing it, and she's going, and then we see all the while Batman's fighting Joker along the bottom, and that leads him to getting captured, and then she's about to land one on the Joker just to prove a point, but she sees Harley's kind of losing it, so she lets Joker go. And then we get one which is not set in the animated universe. This is set in the regular one. This is from Batman Black and White, so it is done in with Harley in that animated style, but this is set firmly in regular DC continuity. So this is a great one. Of all the stories, I'd say it's probably, I don't want to say it's my least favorite, but, when I'm looking at a book like this, I'm looking for the animated style. So I highly recommend picking this up. If you love Batman the Animated Series, anytime they do these collections, it's always something that I recommend. And make sure you check out the rest of the vids on the channel. Got some other dope content. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe, hit that bell icon so you're notified every time a new vid drops. And on that note, I'm out.